everyone. Welcome to the awesome day of FileMaker Training. I'm Richard Carlton, creator of FMTrain.tv, where every day we're having a lot of fun learning about the Claris FileMaker platform. Today, tomorrow is going to be more importing records. So, Nick, are you ready to go? Are you ready?
I'm ready. Yeah, I'm ready.
You're ready. I'm going to transfer sharing to you. Nick, so you're going to finish up today, tomorrow, and the next week starts
Yes,
direct. Yes? So,
yes.
cool.
Okay, so so far we were talking about what we need to do when we have a massive amount of records, right? So and the big problem when we have, but that is not just FileMaker. It is not. Okay, this is when you have big data. Okay, so I have a story for you. And so I was involved for a government, you know, in the Middle East. I'm not going to say which one. And they were working with, I was working with the Department of Health of this country. And they wanted to pretty much get, they were working with two pharmaceutical reference, the PDR, which is the one we use in the US, and the Vidal, which is the one they use in France, right? So, and they wanted to get, so they got the rights of to use this book, and they want, at the time there's no internet, nothing. We were talking about CDs, right? And they wanted like to send to all their medical practitioner in the country. They want to send a CD, right? And with massive amount of records, right? Because this is all the medicine with the interactions and the posology and the composition of the drug. So it was like a massive amount of record and massive amount of information with photos and stuff like that, and everything needs to fit in a CD. Imagine. And that when I start dealing with massive amount of records. And at the time we were talking about FileMaker 8, 8.0, 8.5, right? Because we had the 8.5. I don't know if you remember that version, that intermediate version. They had 8.0, 8.5, and 9, right? So and and I learned a lot during that time. Okay, and and when they come, when it comes this in the early 2000, they come with this WikiLeaks stuff. They come with this massive amount of data. They never had such amount of data. Nobody knew what to do with this because nobody had anything to support this massive amount of data. What we do with the things, right? So they had to invent many things in order to deal with those massive amount of records, right? Of data, right? All of this was new. So when we deal with a lot of data, it's not just FileMaker the problem. FileMaker has no problem. It's just the nature of managing such amount of data. So let me explain a little bit. Okay, how you need to think, how you need to digest massive amount of data. When you want to transport massive amount of things, of goods, you use those giant, massive cargo ships, right? With containers in it. When you need to manage this, it's huge. When you move a cargo ship, it moves slowly. You need to anticipate 2 days in advance before to stop it. You understand? And you need another 2 days to get to the cruise speed. So massive. And Marge, in San Francisco, we saw some of them. The Maersk, those big cargo ship giant with
Yes.
yeah. Okay, so you know what I'm talking about. So this is what you do in FileMaker when you deal with massive amount of records. You deal with cargo ship. You have a big cargo ship, like to the top with containers. So you can't move that like this, right? So what you need to do, is do like in reality. The goods arrive with the cargo ship in a container. From the container, they go to trucks, right? Then they go to smaller trucks, and then they get dispatched. And then you have a small, I don't want to say the brand, but you have this A bleep zone truck that comes to your home, or the USPS delivery truck, small one, right? So you have a very small, tiny delivery truck come to your home with your stuff. So that's exactly what you need to do. You need to trim and you need to dispatch. So you need to get what you want out of this cargo ship. You will get just a small amount of what inside to get to your home. You won't get the cargo ship arriving in front of your home and dump what you order. No, it's not going to happen that way. So in FileMaker, it's exactly the same way. When you deal with a huge amount of data, right? You need to trim, you need to slice, you need to get exactly what you need, right? That's why when you need to deal with a big amount, massive amount of data, especially when you want to get the data in, and you get a massive CSV file, right? So massive that you can't even open it with Excel. Even Excel is not strong enough to sustain such CSV file we received, and we have to deal with. Even Excel is not dealing with this, right? So we reach the limits. Everything has a limit. A computer has limits, right? And FileMaker has limit as well. It's not due to the fact that FileMaker is not good. It's due to the fact that, so you have a giant cargo ship, right? And so giant that sometimes you need to ask the city, right, to destroy a bridge and build another bridge to let the cargo ship to pass under it, right, underneath, right? Sometimes it happens. They need to change they need to destroy the bridge and build another one because the cargo ship's so big. So you need to think that way. So when you have to destroy a bridge and build another one, that means you need to think out of the box, right? And we cannot use any of the available tools that are meant for everybody. Like, when I was showing you yesterday, the file import, right? The import record file, right? We can't use that anymore in the same way, like we were dealing with 100 records, right? And when you receive this huge amount of data, you need to slice it. And that starts with the beginning, right? At the beginning, you need to slice it. That's why. So let me remove this from the I forgot this. So that the last one. Okay, so let me move this on the side because it's a portal that shows 100,000 records. So here, that's why I have this file, right? Because FileMaker has a limit. We cannot put more than 3 GB in a container. We cannot. 3 GB is the maximum, 3 GB, which is huge. But this file in CSV is so big, right, that I have 3 GB here, then I have another one, then I have another one, and I have another one, and I have another one. So you slice this in multiple smaller files, which are pretty much files of 4 million records, right? So you slide them and you put them in records. That's the first thing you need to do, right? When you want to import data. You cannot import a 15 GB file. You can't do that, right? You can't, because you will stress everything. That, I mean, you ask, if you do this, you said, FileMaker, I want the cargo ship to be delivering my iPhone to my door. That's what you ask. You understand? So that's why it won't work, right? Unless you have your home on the port of Oakland or port of San Francisco or whatever, New York. If your house is there on the pier, maybe that can happen. But if it's not, you won't have the cargo ship coming to your home. So you need to slice this, and you need to say, okay, look, let's get me from the cargo ship, and then I'm taking this and I'm slicing this in smaller tracks. Okay, in smaller track. So I have a track now. I have 5 tracks, 5, right? So, and you will see that the analogy of the cargo ship tracks and delivery track, that will work well. So when I have this, right? Yesterday I showed you, right? That we don't want that track, right, to be in the city, right? This track is not going to come to your home any more than the cargo ship. No, we go to a delivery station, right? To a dispatch station, a dispatch facility, right? And then we do another dispatch, right? So this is where the dispatch facility comes. Okay. So I'm getting in this table, I'm getting all the track at once. So I have 4 million records. So that means from the CSV, I want to update. That's what I want to do. Remember, I want to update 4 million records, that the 4 million records that I have in this table, right? So the one that from that 4 million records that I have in my current table, I want them to get updated, right? So to get this, I'm not going to ask 4 million records, get me the 4 million at once. It won't work. Why? Because we reach the limit of the capacity of the software. Remember, yesterday I showed you, not in that file. I think I have another one. This one. Yesterday I showed you that we cannot use that type of things. That means go through a record using the match only records and all the current font sets. We cannot do that on a 4 million records. This is not possible. I mean, it is possible, but if you have patience and if you have the chance, that your FileMaker won't crash, right? So we cannot have this happen on 4 million records, because that also is going to stress. It's too big. I can't deal with a cargo truck, with a truck, a big truck like this. I can't. I need to slice this in multiple smaller. So what I'm doing is, when I get my truck in the dispatch facility, right, I'm slicing this, right? So like I showed yesterday, I'm taking smaller things. I'm going to the record, I'm going to the 500,000 records, right? So I'm going to the 500, right? And I'm dumping on the small, tiny text file, 10 megabytes. See, 10 megabytes. That's small. That's small. That is all. That's enough. Our computer can handle this. 15 gigabytes is not the same story. You understand that? 10 megabytes, it's okay. 10 megabytes, FileMaker will handle that very easily. And I can use, I mean, it's easy. It won't make even a dent on the server. I won't even see that happening, right? So it goes through this, right? It goes from the record here. It goes to this. Let's ignore this one. You go here, right? And then you go next, and he builds a list, right? Like I showed you yesterday, when I say write, I'm writing the file, right? I go to the first record, I write in append line feed. That means each time I'm doing this, it go and do a carriage return, right? Append. So I'm doing a carriage return each time. Go to next until I reach 500,000, right? And then I have a little trick for you. Since I have a counter, so I'm doing that a loop. I want to do that until you reach the end, right? Until I want to do that, right? And each 500,000, right? Stop and then create another file until 1 million, then create another file until 1,500,000, then create another file until 2 million, until 2,500,000, 3 million, every 500,000, I want FileMaker to create a different file, create smaller tracks. This is my delivered track, small one, 10. So you understand? So from the cargo ship, the 15 gigabytes, I came to a smaller track of 4 million records, which is 3 gigabytes. The file, the CSV file I have here, this is 3 gigabytes, right? So from 15, I came to 3, and from 3, right, I came to a delivery track, 10 megabytes, 500,000 records, correct? From 15 million records, I came to 500,000. So I came down. So now that I have this, I have multiple tracks. I have 8 tracks. Yes, of course. 4 million records, right? And that's why I have this stuff built here for you. I have 4 million records. So I have 8 files. The first goes until the 500. The second goes until the 1 million. The third goes until 1,500, 1,500,000. So, because this gave me it's like a monitoring, say, okay, what happened on the file, if everything okay on that file, right? So getting the size of the file to make sure that I'm not, is just to ensure everything okay. Because one day, I don't know, something happened. I don't know what, I don't remember. And I got like one file, 1 giga. I had one file that was like 100 megabytes or 150. And that goes over the FileMaker capacity, which is not a FileMaker capacity, it's a text file capability. We cannot read a text file more than 64 megabytes. 64 megabytes is the maximum for a text file, right? So it's not FileMaker problem. It's a text file problem, right? So we need to slice this. So I have this technique here. So how I'm doing the slice, and that technique, you can use it for many things. When you do a loop, you do a counter. So what the counter do, each loop, right? So let's do a loop like this. And then we will go to the question. So let's do a loop. Because I never really explained that. So here, I have no variable. So what these do, I'm setting a variable counter, which is the variable itself plus 1. At the first, he said counter is empty. Yeah, I don't have counter. It's not there. It's at the first. So the first time I'm going to set the counter, I'm going to set it variable. It will take whatever there will be, which nothing, and it will add 1. So now my counter is 1. Correct? And then I do another one. So 2, 3, 4, and etc. etc. It will stop. It will continue until stop. Okay. Okay. So now that we know how this works, the counter, right? let me see. Let me show you how I'm dealing with this, right? So let's say I want to put an exit loop, right? I want to put an exit loop based on not a record number. Well, yeah, I can do the record number. We can do that. And I said record number 10 by counter. So I want to exit the loop, right? And I have, let's say I have two loops here. Loop. Okay. I want to exit this loop, right? And reset this. So I want to exit that loop, correct? And set the file name based on this, okay? Look, this is important to understand, okay? So here, okay? So when I'm exiting the, let me see if something wrong here. Loop, yeah. So yeah, so I need to, yeah, this is go there. Sorry for that. So this go there, I don't need that. Right? So I want to do this, right? So when there, go to record, next, right? Okay. So let's explain how this works. I'm here, show all records, right? And I'm going to run this, okay? So I'm here, and the counter says nothing. So now the counter says 1, right? It said 1. I continue, and I'm setting a variable with a file name. So the file name here, the file name says data file 1. Okay? Then I said, okay, go to the first record, go to the record, next, until I'm reaching the 10 record. Okay? See? Until I'm reaching the 10 records. Correct? Then that's all of this would have been saved in the file, in the data file 1.txt, because the 1 comes from the counter. And then I said, okay, when you reach the 10, right? When you reach the 10, then get out of the loop, right? I'm still on the record 10 here, right? Get out of the loop, start another one. So you see, you have two loops here. The first, this one, set the name, and this one here, exit when I said 10. And then you say, okay, continue. Now this says 2. The file name will change file name, data file 2. So now I am in another file. The data file 1 is filled with my 10 first record. I'm still on the 10. And then I said, okay, go to next. And then I said, go until 10 by counter, which will be 10 by 2. Counter said 2. So, yes, you guessed it. Now is going to go until the record 20, because it's 10 by 2. Continue. When you reach the record is 19, 20, it get out because I reached 20. And then I have another one, another file free. And then you guessed it. I'm going to 10 by 3, which is 30, etc., 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 etc. Now you get out, right? So now I have the data file 4. I'm going until 40. So now you get the technique here. I'm using the counter I need to organize my loop. Loops always, we organize this with counters, right? Maybe I can put that, we can write down.
I'm here. Yep.
Yeah, can you write this and do a webinar on loops?
Yeah, sure. No problem.
Okay, because there's a good technique here I can show you. Because sometimes I have 5, 6, 7 loops, embedded loops. Who do that? Oh, by the way, just a quick survey. Who in the audience do things like this?
I've definitely seen it done before. I don't know if I've written one myself, but
And who is struggling?
yeah, just did 2 loops after a struggle. I've done 2. I don't remember doing any more.
Okay.
My key all the time. So
Okay, so we can do, and who is interesting in this? That to give you a technique that you can have infinite loops, embedded loops without any problems.
I think that'd be cool. No, I'm interested in. Yeah, people are interested in it. So
okay.
So check.
Yeah. So you got here. I'm getting 2 things out of one thing. The counter gives me the name of the file. Data 4, data 2, 3, 4, 5. And at the same time, it allows me to say, okay, yeah, every 10 records, go and go and go. How will you have done this, right? You understand? If without this technique, it's impossible. I mean, it's super complicated to say every other 10 records. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So this is how you do. You organize your loop, and this technique allows you, right, to create as many files you need. So how I'm getting to stop this, how I can stop the whole thing, because this will stop when I arrive at 500,000. This is stopped when I reach the last. That means if I reach the last before this, because it can happen, if I reach the last before this, the last record, I want to get out. So the go, I'm using the built-in get out of the loop, because the exit after in the go to next record, go to record next, right? When you click on here, exit loop after last, that's what it meant, right? That's what it means. Exit loops after last. So if you use this in a loop, which is the most common usage, right? You have a built-in get out of the loop. But this get out of the loop if I reach this. But this will get out of the loop if I reach the last. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm taking care, but how I'm taking care of this loop, how I know how many file I need for my record, this is where I get a file count, right? So I get 4 million. Right? So I have my 4 million records. File counts. So remove the sailing. Yeah, because I have a exact, I have a very exact, but if I do this, just to screw my life a little bit, if I do this, 7.9, but I don't want 7.9. If I need 7.000000001, this is 8. That means I need 8 files. So that's why we have the sailing. Sailing, we get a new number, 7 dot something. It put 8. Floor do the opposites. right? So floor, if you have 6.9, 6.9, that will be 6 on the floor. But sailing, this will be 8. So 7.9, 7.8, 7.000001, that will be 8. Correct? He put to the integer, the next integer, if you have a decimal.
Yeah, people are saying that some people have said that they struggle with doing this sort of thing. So
Yeah, so because you have the round, but the round is not the same thing.
Mm.
Right? It's not the same. Sailing is, for this case, is one we need to use, right? Okay, so I get so I'm getting the number or the amount of record I have, and I divide it by the threshold. I'm dividing by where I want to break, which is 500. So I'm getting how many records I need to, how many files I need to create. So when the counter reach this number, it stops, right? So far, do we have any questions?
we have a question from a bit earlier,
Yes?
which I'm going to pull out. So this might be a brief derail. I understood, but I still wanted to ask if Nick tries to loop each field instead of the global and tag it, clean the global and go with the next record instead to loop in a batch of 500K and use go to related record.
Yeah, you can do that one by one. Because what I want to do, so the next, okay, do we have any other question or that the
Not at
last?
the moment.
Okay. What I want to do, I don't want to do one by one. You know, I don't want to go one by one like this, next. I could do that, you know, it could be a possibility, but it will be too slow. It will be too slow. Too much of go and back and forth, right? Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I'm pretty sure if I do that with such amount of records, I will stress the memory so much, I will get a crash. I will, right? Because it's lots of loading, because you load the table, you load, you know, and you dump and you load and you dump and you load and you dump and you load. So you stress so much the memory, the IOs and stuff like this. No, what I want to do I don't want to get a guy with a bicycle delivering me my iPhone. I want a delivery truck with 200 iPhones inside, right? Or you know, and get delivered. I don't want one guy with a bicycle, right? This is too much. Too many guys, right? So that's why we do this. We do by batch, because when you get all your files created with the ID inside, then you have the read. I'm going to read this. So I'm using the same loop technique. I know how many files I have, right? So I get the list of the files. So this is how it works, okay? I can run it. I don't know why I have the spinning wheel, but okay. I'm setting the list of the names and the value count. So here I have list of names, all my files, right? That I created, and how many I have. So I have this information here, 8 files, right? And I have data 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now that I have this list, I can start a loop. Say, okay, get a loop, get the counter done. Okay. So now I have the counter here. The counter will say 1, right? Correct? That's the first. I'm setting the file name, and what is the file name? Is the first name is the name number one, because the counter says from that list I want the first name. The current name is data file 1.txt. Then I said, okay, just for a monitoring, I'm saying that I'm doing the first out of 8. This is because the server is going to do that, not me. That will happen on server. And I want to know what is happening, right? Correct? So, and then I'm going to open the file. This won't work because I don't have the data. But I'm opening the file, which is the first, the data file 1. I read the file. That means I put everything that is on this file, and I put that in the fields. Notice that we say here, read from file, not set from file, not insert from file. In FileMaker, the terminology has a very, very, very special meaning. We read from the file. That means I'm not taking the txt file in memory and then dump it inside of the field, like a set field will have done, or insert will have done. Now here I'm reading. That means FileMaker is going to open that file, read character by character, right? And put the bit by bit, put that inside the fields, straight from the hard drive to the file, not using any stress in the memory. That's why I'm using that technique, is because I'm not stressing the memory. So I'm dumping the 500,000 IDs in that file, in that field, and that field is used, right, in this relationship. And I said, okay, now that I have this 500,000 ID in the registration file table, get me all the records you can find, all the record I have from that, from that list of IDs, right? Then all those records that you find in the registration table, then I want you to do a replace. I want you to put the ID in the field, the ID of the CSV file. So let me stop this. The ID of this CSV file I am in. So currently, I don't know why is everything slow suddenly, but it's because maybe I have the data viewer. When I do that, it slows down everything. So I am in this file. This is the ID. So I want, when I deal, so all those data I have in this, all the data I have in here, they belong to that file, right? And that file has an ID. And I want all the records tagged, all the record I can find with this. I want them to have this ID. So I'm using a replace. That means I'm taking all this and I say, okay, replace, boom. And I'm doing that for all the files here. Then at the end, I get all my stuff done. Correct? So I tag them all. They're all tagged. The one I find, the one this relationship finds, I can tag them. And then I go back to the original layout, right? So because I'm going to another layout to tag this, then I go back to this layout here to do the other file, the file 2, 3, 4, 5 with the loop. When the counter reach the number of files I have, 8, right? Then it exit the loop, right? And then I'm doing this and say, okay, yeah, okay, this script name is done. So this is a good thing also to do, to have this record. See here, I have one table with one record. And here I have it's like a dashboard. What is happening? What is currently happening on the server? I know everything what's happening. I know that I initiate the scripts at 144. It didn't end because I stopped it. This is a file I have currently in the document folder in my server, right? Currently, I just did it. I said read data file import, and here I said yes, but the piece of write data file import, the one just before this one, I'm right, and then I read. The one before this one is done. This is the one is running, the currently running, the one done. So when you start a script like this, when you have a lot of script, because all of this process is not just one script. So this is something interesting I can talk about. But before, I want to know if we have any questions.
Yes. Wouldn't it be the right time to use a flush cache between each batch?
Why you mean this? I tend not to use this because I don't really know exactly what that does. Jacob Taylor, our server, told us not to use this, so we don't use it. I don't really know what that do. It's about transaction. It's when we use that into a transaction. So why you want to do that? Flush the loop.
Yeah, no, David's talking about that being like a new feature. Yeah, so it's with the transactions, and transactions were added when?
Yeah.
Really
So I'm not. Yeah. So I'm not. I didn't use transaction yet. I didn't have the time, unfortunately, to use this. But one day I will. So it's recent. It's kind of recent stuff. So when you have, because I have this argument recently with other developers that are working on a project. So I'm not alone on the project. There's other developers. This is not just this script. It's a sequence of many scripts. So this is a process, right? Perform. I don't want one script with 500 lines. Pretty much, I don't want this script, right? And with this, in it. And then with this in it, right? I don't want that to happen. So I don't want I don't want something like huge scripts with huge impossible to understand, I mean, impossible to read. I don't want something like this. You shouldn't do that. You should slice. Again, it's the same principle of slicing in smaller things, in smaller bits, right? When you have something like this, so you need to, and it's easier to understand what's going on. I'm deleting the data cache, the data file. I start and I delete everything, to make sure, because sometimes why I'm doing this, because I'm doing at the end, I'm deleting everything. I'm doing this because if I stop this here, sometimes I stop it because there's a bug, something that I stop it. Well, I want this to all the leftovers, I want to be gone. So I'm deleting. I reset registrations. I import the VUID. I write the import file. I read the import file. I delete all the files that this generated. I don't need that anymore. I write the data file registration, read it, import the new record, import the duplicate record, find the duplicate registration, check the counts, update record, and delete all. I have everything there. I know everything what it's doing. Now, if I need to go and see what happened here, what happened? So this is what I call reset. Boom. Okay. Import. This is the import sequence, right? It's 45 lines, so it's okay. It's decent. But that's it, right? That's it. Then I write the data file for the imports, right? Right? I'm doing this. And then I read this, and then I delete this, and then I write. I do all my stuff like this, right? And I can read easily what it is. It's not buried in a huge, giant, big script, which is impossible to understand. Yes, it means that I go to the folder, I need to go there, then set this and commit, because I'm setting the current scripts with the script name here to see what happened. And when this here says perform scripts, the next one, then yeah, I need to go again. I'm going there. So you need to, again, you go there, and then you go there, because it's another script. So you know what I mean? So you need to position yourself where you want to go. Okay. So, but this is not the problem, right? Because it adds so much in the process. Other thing that is good with this technique, let's say, because it happened 2 billion times, because I stay on this script for 15 days, like all day, 10 hours a day. So you run this, and here, boom, a bug. Ah, my gosh, I have a bug here. I need to fix the bug. So that means I need to go to that script, change something. And do you want to restart all the process? That means, do you want to import again 4 million records? That takes like half an hour. So you want to do that? You want to restart all just because you fix a bug here? No. What you want to do is this. Okay, I'm here. Don't do this and start again here. This good. This worked. This worked. So don't do this. Start again here, right? And then you realize, oh, you have a bug here. Oh, Dios. Oh, my gosh, I have a bug here, right? So, okay. So I fixed this. This works. This works. This works. So, okay, don't do this, right? Start from here and see if it works. And keep going until you fix it. You got the advantage of this technique here when you debug, because as you see, I build the script. So that may be also a good, it's a good webinar, this, Mark, if you can write down this, or how to build efficient scripts, a big, large, efficient script with debugging in mind. Can you write this down?
That's what I'm doing. Oh, whoops. Hold on.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Yes. Because this technique of writing, not because if you have one big, giant, enormous, gigantic, scripts, how you do that? Oh, you deactivate part of the scripts, right? Yeah, but in that case here, this one is deactivate, and let's say I have another one deactivate, and I have another one deactivate. So you have, sometimes we have script like this, we did something like this, and then I want to deactivate the whole thing. If this was part of the big giant script, I want to deactivate. So, and how I know which one was active, which was, you don't know. You understand? You don't know. So what I want to deactivate the whole thing. I want to deactivate the whole thing. You understand? So then I can, I can read. I say, okay, start from here, right? Because those script has been built in a way that I'm starting again, like it was it was, I can run that script alone. I can run it. I can run it alone. It will work. I might not have the data, but the script will work. So I can put fake data. Sometimes I'm doing this, I'm putting fake data where it should, to make it works. And I can see if it works. If I go to the right layout, or, if I export the data, so I can do that, right? So that's why when you have a big giant, and another thing also is to have this dashboard type of layouts, right? Which is since I have one record, I don't need to take care of where to go. So each script here resets, So I go to the folder, I go to this record, and I'm setting those things. That means I'm blanking everything, boom, boom, when I start. Then I import. So when I import, I go there, I set the current script name, right? Then I do whatever, and at the end, I go back there and I say, okay, I need this. You need to, I need that file name here. I need that. So put it here in this field, and at the same time you can say this script is done. The current script done. Then you go there and say, okay, go there. That the current script I'm in, right? Then at the end, right, you say, okay, go there. I need this is the result of the script. I need to know that in my dashboard. I need to know that as well. And at the same time says that the script is done. And it's set right here the same. I'm going here, and at the end I said script done. And here, so now when that will be performed on server, I know that I'm reading, I know this one done. I know I'm currently doing this. And I know, for example, that I'm doing the first, is currently updating the first out of 8, right? So I have kind of like a dashboard, right? So if we don't have any questions, so I think for today it's good. So if you have questions at the time.
Nope, just kind of a brief discussion about the whole flush thing.
So what they say?
FileMaker Help says use the script step to force FileMaker clients to flush their internal file cache after extensive changes have been made through script steps, such as import records or replace field contents.
Yeah, so I want that always, definitely. Always. I don't want this. So it could be if you, definitely I don't want that. I thought it was about I think it has to do something with the transaction. I read something like that, but anyway, don't touch this. I mean,
yeah.
sorry.
I said it'll be a
because
moment.
Yeah, because if you go to the loop, where you found this? Because when you go to loop, they don't tell you, they don't talk about this in the help. I mean, I didn't see it. So anyway, so definitely we'll do a webinar about the writing big. Okay, in general, when you have big thing, in general, like a huge amount of records, a lot of clients, a lot of users, a lot of files, and a lot of fields, and a lot of scripts, right? A lot of steps in scripts. You don't want big things, you really don't want. You don't want to have big, giant cargo ships. So keep that in mind, the cargo ship, you want the delivery truck. So delivery truck, boom. Clean, easy to understand. I reset, I import, I write, I read, I delete, I write, I read, I import, So it's small. So, okay, if you have a problem on importing the duplicate record, why? So it's there, right? That's all what you need to read. The only difficulty you have is to make sure that you land in the right folder, because all of this happened on server, remember? Right? So, but it will act like a giant script, but know something. The only difficulty I see, right? Before we go, when you deal with something like this, let's say you set a variable here, right? Which is a local variable. And you need that local variable here. Well, you lose it. You won't have it. The local variable will be alive for the time being of that script. That means when this will come here, generate set the variable, and then when he will do this, the local variable is over. It's over, right? In that case, the only thing you need to do when you deal with this, if you need this variable in another script, you need to do this. You need to do a global. Because if we do a global field, a global variable, right? Then here, if you generate that global variable here, that will be available here. Because it has been created during a script that was performed during that script. So yes, if I set a global variable here, it will be available here if it's a global. If it's not a global, it won't be. That's the only thing, because if you have a giant, big, scripts, and you set a local variable here, and then down, you call it, it's available because it's part of the same script. Capiche? So that's the only downside of this technique of slicing in multiple subsequence of scripts, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So
cool. I wrote down those two new stream ideas. So
yeah, then keep the file. Then sometime when we have some, if you ask me like, oh, can you do an extra day? Boom, I have something.
yes. Real quick, I have some questions, but is there going to be a file for this mini series that you're going to?
Yes, I will tomorrow if you want. I will have like a 1 hour. Can we do a 1 hour and a half tomorrow?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. No, I'll let you know. Then you can arrange your meetings and stuff. It's because I can. With all this, no, but you already have some part of it. You have the right data, right? So you have this cleaning, opening, writing. So you have this, right? So what part are you interested in? Because this is the most obscure, is the most voodoo, the right, and so I have the file for you. What are you are interesting in me putting, or maybe find the duplicates or something like this? How I'm dealing with duplicates, that will be interesting. That will be something I want to do tomorrow. That means how I deal with duplicates, right? I mean, because when you have a duplicates, let's say I have 3 duplicates, right? And or 4. I mean, I have let's say I find 10 duplicates, but one is the duplication 4-time duplicates of one ID, right? And another one is 2 times duplicate. So I want to keep the first I find as the original and tag if I have 4 duplicates, I want to tag the first as original and then the 3 other as duplicates. Correct? I want to get 1 as original. So the first I find, the first will be the original to me, because knowing that, and that's something I'm going to take tomorrow, but when you unsort a found set, right? That record means it was the first created in the history of the file. So if you get a list of duplicates and you don't sort them, correct? It will, or even, for example, if you have tomorrow, tomorrow, I'm sure I'm going to explain to you how that works. Yeah,
I was
tomorrow.
hunting around. I don't think I have the right read data file actually. So.
Oh yeah, I can send to you.
Feel free to send it to me. So.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's why I extract this piece.
Yeah.
Because you don't want the whole process. It's not. I mean, it's not talking to you. That's something, I'm showing you the technique, and then, but this, how to do that.
Yeah.
I'm just importing a table. So I mean, I'm doing a bunch of I'm doing a bunch of replays. I mean, nothing like wow, right? Something is not. But yeah, the find duplicate. That's interesting how I'm doing this. And so when you have a found set and boom, so that tomorrow. So I'm going to extract this, which is easy, and the found count as well. This is a good technique. So tomorrow I'm going, because when you're done, you want to make sure, because what you're going to do when you do this type of replace, when you do the replace, not the update, the replace, and any kind of replace, even if you do this one, right? How many of you has screwed up something doing this?
Yes.
How many of you have screwed up big league everything, like replace the world font set?
Yeah, people are saying.
How many of you?
Guilty of that, yeah.
Okay, so when you do a replace, whatever replace is heavily is heavily destructive, and there's no go back. So that's why when you do something like this in such amount of records, you need a lot of safeguards, like this, tag and tag, consistent. Here I have 2. I have 2 safeguards because this can destroy, and this, if this is not available, is not correct, I can destroy as well. And I need to have both to be consistent, right? So when I have both consistent, I can go to sleep, and let the process done, because I know it's okay, right? So, and I'm going to show you these techniques: first two, last two, and so that tomorrow. So duplicates and stuff like this. So
yes,
if we don't have any question, we good to go. And
good. Thank you, Nick.
Okay.
Awesome. We will see
you tomorrow. Thank you, and see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.